one to explain. Um, Basically, if you think of each little action that happens in a game, for example, like a sound effect is played, you get an item. Device is responsible for each of those small little actions. So one device is responsible for playing a sound effect. One device is responsible for giving you an item. And you basically combine these devices together, and that's how you build your very own game mode. So not all these devices are going to be available, but lots of them are. So you just click devices, and we're hopefully going to get icons for these. But let's just actually just make something super simple to start you off. One of the most basic devices is the trigger. That's one you'll probably use a lot. We'll search for trigger, and same thing. You select it, and you just got to choose wherever you want to place it down. So the trigger is going to look different. We're actually working on the. Actually, I'll probably share a screenshot. So a lot of the art for our current devices are like just not art, just like literally a random image I made in Keynote real quickly. But we're getting final art for the devices right now. So here's actually probably what the actual trigger will look like. I'll send a screenshot here. All right, so this art isn't final. Anyway, what a trigger does is when you walk over it, it will do some sort of action. And it's up to you to decide what you want that action to be. So we have another device which is going to look different, and it's called the counter. And all it does is just it keeps count of something, keeps track of basically a number. So I'm going to click it and place it down right here. Actually, that's a little bit hard to see with the grass. I'm just going to place it. I'm probably going to just remove this igloo and go down here. This is another nice thing. There's just kind of like as if you're working in like a presentation software, you can like click and drag and like move a bunch of stuff really quickly, just like that. So I'm going to just move this stuff over. All right, so we got a counter, and counter is also going to look different. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, this is going to be the final art for the counter device. It's going to look like this. So we're still in the process of updating all these. And we're just going to start off with something. We're just going to start off with when I walk over this, it's going to increase this count. So when I step on this, we want it to increase this count by 1. And that is where wires come in. So wires allow you to connect two different devices together. This might look a little weird because this UI is nowhere close to being done. But if I go into add and I go back here and I select wire, all right, I'm going to choose a device to start. So in this case, I'm going to choose my trigger. And then I'm going to select a device to end the wire. So I'm going to choose the counter. And so this is a lot of what our old UI looked like. So it's really, as you can tell, nowhere close to being ready. So this is one of the screens I have to update. Then once you connect a wire together, you choose what happens with that wire. So in this case, when we trigger this trigger, we want to increment the counter. We could also decrement it. We can go into that later. So this wire is going to increment the counter when we trigger this trigger, which will happen when we step on it. So the way you test this out is you just start the game. So I'm going to start the game. And now we're in. And if I step on this trigger, as you see, we increase our count to 1. Step on it again, increase to 2, 3, 4. Right? That's how you make a mechanic. You connect things that do different things, different devices together through a wire. So I'm going to end the game. And what we can do actually is on the right side, we can actually just copy this trigger, bring it over to the right side, and connect a wire from this one over to the trigger, or over to the counter, I mean. And we'll say when we trigger that one, we will decrease that count by 1. So this one on the left is going to increase the count. This one on the right, sorry, what did I say? This one on the left is going to increase the count. This one on the right is going to decrease the count. So let's try it. All right, so I step over this one. It's 1, 2. Right, now we can go over to this side. We go 1, 0. Does negative work? Yeah, it does. All right. So that is, those are all your basics. You basically bring all these together, and that's how we made all of our game mechanics, was literally through using devices and connecting them through wires. So let me end the game now. So let me show maybe a little bit of a more interesting example. So I'm gonna get rid of all this. All right, and let's make a little version of Snow Brawl now. So first thing we can do is we can get an item spawner, and we can choose. Oh, so yeah, I haven't really talked about this yet. For a lot of these devices, you click on them and then you get to edit them. So in this case, I just placed down. I'm probably going a little bit too fast. So let me restart. So I'm gonna place down a device called an item spawner, and this is what you see in One Way Out. It's what spawns an item for you to collect. So gadget area and One Way Out, those are all item spawners. So I'm going to click on this item spawner, and then I get to choose which item it's going to give me. So I go here, and I get to choose from all these items. So let's just choose Snowball Launcher. And now you can see the Snowball Launcher is here. And so if I start the game, now I can select the Snowball Launcher, and I've got it in my inventory, ready to go. I can actually just copy this item spawner and maybe change it to be the zapper. And now when I start the game, I can choose between the Snowball Launcher and the zapper, just like that. Okay. So we got the Snowball Launcher here. Since I got no one here to fight against, let's place some enemies down. Placing enemies is like super easy, and it's called the Sentry device. So again, you go into devices, and I'm just going to search for Sentry. I click it, and I just place where I want my enemy to be. So I can just place one there, and let's fight it. Oh no, did not spawn. Did I do something wrong? Maybe that might be broken, but that should work. That might be broken right now, but let me try one more time. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's working. Let me try one other thing. Let's see. Yeah. Let me try this. I think this isn't going to work, but I'm going to just try it anyway. Will this work? Nah. Okay. So Sentry's broken, but the Sentry is what's going to be the AI enemy that you can fight against. This is what's in One Way Out, and this is what took most of the time. Actually, in terms of making One Way Out happen, was getting this Sentry to work, because it adapts to its surroundings. So if I go over here and hide behind cover, I guess over here, it knows it can't reach me and it won't try to fire at me. So like getting it to adapt and all that stuff was really difficult. Laser, yeah, I'll show you the laser in just a second. But once it does work, as you see, we still got stuff to figure out. You'll be able to choose the appearance. So right now it's just our two evil plants, but you can also choose which gadget the Sentry will use. Right, so you can actually have the Sentry use a quantum portal instead of the wooden wand, for example. You can change its accuracy. You can change its fire rate, its health, and a bunch of other stuff. How quickly it respawns, its range. So a bunch of stuff. All right, last thing I guess I'll show you is the laser. So you just search for laser in devices, and this is it right here, the laser beam. And it's a little bit hard to see on white here, so let's just move over. All right, so here's our laser, and how you change its size is really cool. So you know what, that's not working right now. Yeah, that's not working yet. Okay, but basically you'll be able to like kind of click and drag where you want each point to be, but that's not working currently. But we can customize some things. So we can change the color. So we can make this like a blue laser. There we go. Now it's a blue laser. We can change the damage. So this laser is kind, unlike the one in One Way Out, and only does 10 damage. So if I start the game here, it's only going to deal 10 damage to me, right? So you can modify that. And then I guess I'll show you how you can use wires to start and stop this laser. So let's actually place a few down. Just do a few like this. And I'll show you a little example of how you might deactivate these and activate these. So we're going to use that trigger again. So I'm going to go into devices and search for trigger and just place it down. And what I can do is I can actually connect a wire from the trigger over to the laser. And I can say when triggered, deactivate. That's going to deactivate this particular laser. I'm going to do that for each of them. So when this is triggered, I'm going to deactivate the laser. Triggered, deactivate the laser. All right, so we've done that. And if I start the game now, you will see that I'm taking damage because these lasers are on, but I can actually just step on this and boom, now the lasers are off. So yeah, as you can see, that's how you're going to build your game mechanics. And that's why devices are kind of hard to explain because they each do different things. But you can think of it like each small little thing that happens in a game is a device, right? So the laser is a device, the trigger is a device, and this thing that gives you the snowball launcher, that one is a device as well, right? So yeah, I think that's really it. Any questions? I think that's probably good for a first look. Any questions so far? Oh yes, the writable notes. Sure. This one probably will have some. Do the triggers have to be visible? Good question. Okay, let me start on that. No, they don't. So you can actually click on this, and then you can scroll down, and there's this visible in-game option, and you can set this to no. And then I can start the game, and you can see it's not there, but I can probably run over it somewhere if I can find it. There we go, and I turned it off. So you can hide it in game. Can you customize the weapons? No, you cannot. You cannot customize the weapons. So the weapons are from us, but you get to choose which ones players have or don't have. Okay. Let's see. Can you assign players a skin like in Snowy Survival? So that's a really good example of something that's only going to be for us. So that in particular is only going to be for us to use. No, you will not be able to do that. And that's part of the work we're doing right now. Is there are quite a few things that are only for us that we have to make sure that no one else can get access to. And some of the things too, like on the first version, like capture the flag maps won't be possible because we basically made a device called the flag device. Looks like this. And you think it's pretty easy to use because you can just start the game, walk up to it. I guess this isn't working either. I think I might have to change something. Will this work? Still figuring stuff out myself. There we go. Now I can pick up this flag. Now I'm carrying a flag. But actually, it turns out like making capture the flag games is way too difficult right now. Like when we built capture the flag, it took a lot of the drag and drop code blocks, which I've discussed, and we just want to make it easier to build capture the flag maps. So like we're going to update the flag device. So we're not going to release the flag device for version 1. We're just going to like redo it, make it easier to use, and then we'll release it. And yeah, there are different flag colors. I'm not sure how many we have. Oh, we got all these. Orange flag, cool. Red flag, cool. Okay, so let me show you the way you can make pop-ups with like text and notes and stuff. So what is it called? I think we changed the name recently. No, is it called? What did I call it? Oh, is it just called the pop-up? Oh, it's literally called the pop-up. All right, so the device is called the pop-up device. So here, this one actually has final art. So this is actually what the device will look like. So a lot of our devices will look like this style. And you go into it and you get to choose, you get to just write your content. So I'll say, hello there, Discord. I hope you are enjoying this demo of Gimkit Creative. Right. So that's the content of it. And now we want to open it. So how can we get it to open? We can just use a trigger again. So put down a trigger and we'll connect a wire between the trigger and the pop-up. So I'll say when triggered, open pop-up. And now when I start the game, when I walk over this, there we go. Now this pops up. So that's how you get to write your own, your own stuff in here. And then the other thing is there's just a text device too. So right here, text. And you can just place it anywhere on your map and you can write whatever. So hello there, Discord. And you can change the font and increase the font size. Move this up a bit. You do that too. Where is the thing that can set players to spawn at? Are you? I'm guessing you're wanting to control where players spawn when the game begins. Is that right? Like the two different types of flag spawns. Okay, yep. So that's another device, and it's called spawn pad device. So just search for spawn pad, and here we go. So this is also not final art. It's going to look different, but this is where you decide where players are when the game begins. So let's say I want to start players over here. I just place it there, and now when I start the game, I start right there. And what you can do is you can have different spawn pads for different teams. So I can actually click on this spawn pad and say, hey, which team is allowed to spawn here? Right now it's any team, but I could set this to team 1, which might be Echo. And I can place another one over here and say, hey, this spawn pad is only for team 2, which is Vortex. So here we go. Can you customize team names? I think that's also something that's not going to be there for version 1. We have a device called the team settings device. Looks like this, but I think it has some bugs that we need to work out before we release it to everyone. But eventually you will be able to, because I can actually come in here and I can set this to team 1 and I can change the team name to Echo. You can even set a bunch of stuff like max players on a team, for example. But I don't think it's going to be in version 1 because I think there's some bugs with this, because this actually allows you to do some like pretty advanced team stuff. Like you get all this placement priority is I think the main thing I'm worried about. So not for version 1, but probably soon. How many versions will there be for Gimkit Creative? No, I mean there's no version count. We're just going to release it and keep updating it. We'll probably keep updating it in 2 ways. Like the first way is we're going to continue to make game modes, and basically whatever we want to do in game modes, we have to build the devices for in order to make it happen. So we're going to keep giving you new devices that are based on what we want to add next into our game modes. And then we'll also just be listening to your guys' feedback and adding and changing things based on how you all use it. So yeah, I think maybe the final thing I'll show you is how to incorporate answering questions in your game, and then I'll probably stop for there. So again, answering questions is another device, and it's called the questionator or questioner. I don't know. We got to figure out a final name for that. So this might look familiar to what is in Dystopia, that center area where everybody goes to answer questions. So you can just place that anywhere. And what you do is you just click on it and you have to give it right now at least you have to give it a kit ID. So let me just find one of my kits and put it in here. Okay, there we go. Now it up, so we're good. Okay, and yeah, that's all you need to start answering questions. You just place this down and put the kit you want in there, and now we can start the game and start answering questions. And same thing, if you want to like give players a reward for answering the question correctly, which you probably will do, that is where you will use where you'll use another device and wires again. So let's say, I don't know, let's say we have this this laser here, right? And in order to deactivate it, you have to answer a question correctly. Well, then we'll just connect a wire between this and the laser. And we can just say, when question's answered correctly, let me zoom out, deactivate the laser. So let's try it now. All right, this laser is obviously on, doing damage to me. If I just answer a question correctly, oh my gosh, I didn't answer correctly. I guess you're supposed to choose, what am I supposed to choose here? What is the correct answer? Is it 2? Hey, okay, I got it correct. There we go. Now the laser is deactivated. All right. So yeah, that's how you incorporate question answering if you want to. And again, you can hook up this. The awesome thing is you can hook up any device to anything else. So right, like this in this case, like answering a question, like deactivate a laser, but you could have it give you an item. I think that's what we do in most of our modes. Is it gives you an item. You could have it give you more health. Right, you can have it open up one of those overlays or one of those pop-ups we just talked about. You can have it. You can have it destroy these 3 trees. Let me show you that. Hook up this to each of these trees. I can say, when question answered correctly, hide prop. Answered correctly, hide prop. The question answered correctly, prop. I did that for each 3 of the trees. And the trees are there. I answer a question correctly. Hey, now they're not here. Right? So really, like, the main thing when you'll be learning Gimkit Creative is you just want to learn what each device does, because once you learn that, then you can use it with all the other devices you already know. So pretty cool. Okay, let me see. What if you want to answer a question? Okay, what if you want an answer question button, like in one way out? Okay, so yes, in all of our other modes, there's like a button here that says like answer question, right? And you can then you can like walk away and you can answer questions from anywhere. So how do you do that? That is with another device. That is called the overlay, game overlay device. So this is a device that allows you to display text or a button on screen for players during the game. So you just place it down, and there's a couple of different ones. There's one that is, so there's a couple of different things you can put on player screens. One is just text, and really the other is a button. So text is like, you know how when Snowy Survival starts, it says like, 15 seconds until the first curse. Or when you're playing tag, there's like that countdown on the top left. That would be text. In this case, we want a button that you're going to click. So we're going to click this, and we're going to choose button. And we got to choose our position. So you can choose one of the 4 corners, top left, top right, bottom left, or bottom right. So we'll do bottom left. That's what we do in most of our modes. And we'll just say that the text is answer questions. And now we just connect these 2 devices together through wires. So I'm going to select this and connect it to where we answer questions. I can say, when button pressed, open. This isn't the most clear, but this is opening the question answering screen. So when we press the button that's going to be on our screen, we're going to open up the question answering screen. So let's try it. Oops, this might not work. I'm not sure. Let me check why. I'm not sure. Okay, so it looks like something's going wrong here. But this will put a button on your screen like here, and when you click it, it will open up the question answering screen. I'm not really sure why that's not working right now. Yeah, that's kind of strange. No idea why. That is how you'll do it. It's obviously a bug we got to fix. Okay, but yeah, you'll see like this is all without having to do any coding, right? You're just connecting things together and just like choosing, when this happens, do this. All right. Like the area unlocks and tag, will there be doors, portals that we can place down that require energy? Yes, there are. This is something, let's see if this one works, because obviously a lot of stuff is not working today, but it's called, there's a little typo right now, but it's called the vending machine device. It'll look pretty familiar to you. But you place it down and you basically choose, this one is a mess right now, so it's probably pretty confusing, but you place this down if you want players to have to purchase something. So for example, let's say you need one, let's say you can like disable this laser. Let me just get rid of this. Let's say you can disable, let me get rid of these two as well. Let's say there's this laser here and you can disable it by redeeming like one snowball launcher. So we're gonna do, yeah, this is a mess right now, but we'll say like, we'll call this like disable laser, and we'll say like deposit your snowball launcher to disable this laser. And then you can choose like what item does the player need to turn in. So in this case, it's going to be a snowball launcher. I think it's this one. I'm not sure which one is the rare one, and we need to fix that too. And how much they need to turn in. So in this case, one, right? But you can make it, hey, you need to turn in like 2 snowball launchers or whatever it is. And then we just hook it up via wires again. So we just go from this vending machine over to the laser. We can say when item is purchased, we're going to deactivate the laser. And let's see if this works. All right, so we've got our laser running, but we don't have a snowball launcher yet. So let's go grab our snowball launcher up here. And oh yeah, something weird is happening with, okay, yeah, this also is not working right now, but it will work. It's strange that a lot of this stuff is not working. I think I might know what's going on, but yeah, that is how you'll do it. So anyway, as you can tell, like buggy, like, and when we release it, it's going to be buggy too. There's going to be so many bugs. It's really going to be a very early version, but yeah, we're excited to get it out there. As you tell, a lot of work to do. So yeah, that's your quick look into Gimkit Creative. So cool. Thanks so much, everyone. I will leave you all for the rest of the game night if you want to do any of that. But thanks so much for watching, and it was cool to show you all.